Welcome to another live stream with Titan Node, the #1 place to delegate your stake. Today, we're going to be talking about Livepeer and the price prediction that I had made about a week or two ago, and my new price prediction for Livepeer, and an explanation of why I came to this price prediction and where I think we're going in the future. So if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe. If you haven't seen my last video on the price prediction, please go back and check that one out as well, as I cover some other topics. But if you're with us today, feel free to ask some questions in chat as we go through today's content. So thank you for joining us, and let's just go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to look at real quick is just the current status of Livepeer. Livepeer is sitting at $39, right? And we had a big pullback in the market, a big dip in the market in the last 48 hours, right? We had the Bitcoin kind of draw back from 57,000 all the way down to 44,000. And Livepeer was no exception. It also had a similar pullback where we were sitting at about $48 and we pulled back all the way to 31, right? So a bit of a recovery and some consolidation coming down the line. But what I'm interested in talking about this live stream is a lot about this $100 wick that we reached about 2 weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. Let's see what that was, the 11th of November. So that was about 3 weeks ago. We hit this wick of $101, and my original price prediction back then was $200. Now I've increased it to $300. And as we go through this, I'm going to explain why and hopefully give you some ideas as to why I think Livepeer is probably going to be one of your best altcoin investments for the future, right? So let's just jump right into the metrics of how things are going, and then I will share a video of what I think is relevant to this, which is a video by Jeff Bezos. So as you can see here, we have a pretty steady increase in usage. Now, you can see back from 2020, you can see that it's slowly rising in the adoption of minutes transcoded. Now, you can see that back last year, we had 1,600 minutes a week, rising right up into the new year into 2.4 million, and then peaking at about 3.6 million minutes transcoded. And we're topping off a little bit here, but you can see that the trend is going up. So the adoption for Livepeer is going up, as well as the fees, and they've been consistently going up, higher highs and higher lows as well when it comes to the amount of adoption that it's getting, right? And I find this really interesting. So I want to quickly do a video clip of Jeff Bezos of when he was talking about Amazon back in the early 2000s. So I'm just going to throw on my headphones and I'll have it on the next screen here. All right. So this is Jeff Bezos talking about Amazon stock. And I think that this is going to be somewhat relevant to how we can view some of these altcoins, specifically Web3, going into the future. So here, let's just watch it.
Your stock at one point, I think, went to $100, but then it went down to $6 or something like that.
At the peak of the internet bubble, our stock peaked somewhere around $113. Okay. And then after the internet bubble, busted open, our stock went down to $6. It went from 113 to 6 in less than a year. So my annual shareholder that year starts with a one-word sentence, and that one-word sentence is the word ouch.
So most of those internet companies of the dot-com era are out of business.
Yeah.
You survived. What was it that made you to survive, and virtually the rest of them are gone?
That whole period is very interesting because the stock is not the company, and the company is not the stock. And so as I watched the stock fall from 113 to 6, I was also watching all of our internal business metrics, number of customers, profit per unit, everything you can imagine, defects, etc. Every single thing about the business was getting better and fast. And so as the stock price was going the wrong way, everything inside the company was going the right way. And we didn't need to go back to the capital markets. We didn't need more money. The only reason, a financial bust like
So I want to quickly touch on that subject. When the price of the stock was going down, all the internal metrics were going up, right? Which is typical of one of the most successful companies ever created, Amazon, right? And what you can see here is the stock price, if you will, if you looked at Web3 as a stock, but it's more of a utility token, depending on who you ask. But the price of Livepeer and all these other tokens are going to go through a wild bubble, right? That is probably going to happen with Web3, with the ecosystem, and the development of these kinds of things. So the real question is, if we see the increase of all these metrics going in the right direction, and we think long term, right, 5, 10, 20 years out, like Amazon was back in 2000 when the bubble happened, you can see that like holding Amazon since 2000 was a good choice, right? And you can tell that when you get these protocols that are actually gaining traction, regardless of the price of the protocol, those are the types of things you want. And that's what like the whole Web3 ecosystem is all about. And that's what we're going to further dive into in a little bit. So let's just finish watching the rest of that clip, and I'll go into some other reasons why I think Livepeer is going to hit not only the $300 mark, but one of the best Web3 protocols that you could purchase as an investor.
Like the internet bubble bursting is, makes it really hard to raise money, but we already had the money we needed, so we just needed to continue to progress.
Wall Street kept saying, well, Amazon's not making any money, they're just getting customers. Where's the profits? Where are the profits? And Wall Street kept beating you up on that, and your response was, I don't really care what you think?
Amazon was, people always accused us of selling dollar bills for 90 cents and said, look, anybody can do that and grow revenues. That's not what we were doing. We always had positive gross margins. It's a fixed cost business, and so what I could see is that from the internal metrics is that at a certain volume level, that we would cover our fixed costs and the company would be profitable.
You can't buy.
So there you go. Jeff Bezos. I like the idea of it being a great business model when it's working well and continually increasing at a slow and steady rate, which is what I think is happening in the Livepeer protocol, right? So you have this steady increase of all these other things. Some other metrics to look at, as always, is the back end for the Livepeer dashboard. This is Titan Node's dashboard. You can see that we have lots of wicks. These are daily wicks in the amount of transcoding. So transcoding is only done when video is sent to the network to actually be transcoded, unlike ETH mining or other proof of work or proof of stake protocols where it's like constant. The amount of work is constant. Livepeer is dynamic. The amount of work you get is relative to the amount of streams that apps are using Livepeer as its backend, right? So as you can see, you have daily usage. Some of these are completely maxing out the GPUs in this machine. And you can see that it's constantly kind of going sideways and up over the last 14 days, right? And it's consistent. What's really interesting is the consistency of all the work that's happening, right? But yet in Livepeer itself, we've had 24 new orchestrators join the network in the last 35 days, I think. 35 or 37 days. So that means the network is getting busier. It's handling being able to handle the capacity, and more high quality orchestrators are joining the network, which is also bidding up the price of the end level, the barrier to entry to get in. So like if we go to performance, in the early videos of Titan Node, we had lots of scores, total scores that were below 1 over. I think they were like 40th place. So once you hit about 40th place, the total score was less than 1, which means they're not really providing high quality transcoding work. And today, if we go through the page, by the way, Titan Node is number 2 for overall global performance right now. Interpreter is number 1. Awesome node, by the way. Go check them out. If you can see, now we're going to be hitting the 40th place, and we're at 5, right? So we are hitting, about 53 spots before we start falling off when it comes to performance. So a majority of the network is performing at least for the network, which is really, really positive. So we have new people coming in, new orchestrators providing high quality work, and the work is growing as well. So these are all really positive metrics. I'm going to take this headset off, and what I'm going to talk about now is this unbonding period. Okay, so I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but now you have this unbonding schedule, which is this decline in unbonding from Livepeer, right? So we had, when we hit about $100 a Livepeer, you can see there were a couple whales that wanted to unbond, right? So we have 82,000, 51,000, and about 100,000 LPT unbonded during that time, okay? But then after that, no unbonding is really taking place. And then if you look up here, which is this 310,000, we have a decline in the amount of unbonding, right? So every time you bond, you have to lock your tokens for 7 days, and you're contributing to the network, getting inflationary tokens and earning rewards, right? And the more participants you have in the network bonding, that means you're creating a bit of a squeeze, but then you're also showing the dedication of the people within the network, right? Like if you think about it, if you buy into these Doge coins or these meme coins, you know, there's no benefit to owning them. There's no benefit to just holding on to them for 20 years. If the price goes up, the only goal is to try to sell it to some other sucker that wants to buy it at a higher price, right? And it doesn't really have any metrics like Bitcoin, which is supposed to be hard money, right? So what you're left with is like these coins that go up, they make you money only when you sell them, they don't provide any real value, they're liquid, and the whole thing can crash in 3 seconds. Well, Livepeer, in this bonding schedule, you can see the dedication as investors want to hold on to those tokens. They have a benefit of holding the tokens, and the unbonding schedule is declining, right? So as time progresses, those long-term holders tend to continue to hold the value, which means you have more resistance and a more stable way of investing in these tokens, right? So it's really, really important to have these type of metrics in different areas, okay? So increasing in usage, decreasing in unbonding. If we go into the Web3 Index, we can see that Livepeer is still in the top performing Web3 protocols. There's a new one called Pocket. They're doing very well. I think this was listed very recently. I'm very curious about Pocket. It's a good protocol, I think. But last time we were just under Allweave, and here we are again, right under Allweave. So I really, really like where Livepeer is situated when it comes to these type of protocols. Another thing I want to talk about is actually Helium, okay? So for those that don't know what Helium is a part of the Web3 Stack, and it's the last mile of internet, right? So and I had somebody ask a question the other day. They said, could Livepeer work with Helium? Okay. And for those that don't know Helium, I'll quickly overview it, and then I'll explain why this is explosive, right? These type of integrations of Web3 stacks that cause this type of like synergy, if you will. Terrible word, but it's synergy in a way. So the way Helium works is you buy Wi-Fi miners, right? So you connect your internet to a Wi-Fi miner, you provide hotspot Wi-Fi in your area, and then you mine rewards from people using your hotspot, right? And so all the green patches here, all the hex patches are all the Helium miners in the world. And so anywhere you go in this area, you get Wi-Fi, right? So you can be driving down the road and you get Wi-Fi in all these places, and it's all decentralized web, right? So you can even hook up, the whole point of it is like the Internet of Things. So you can hook up like your phone to it, you can hook up your refrigerator to it, or your car to it, or anything you want, right? And it's decentralized web, right? In the last mile. So wherever you are, that's where it's going to be. Helium's really interesting because it takes away all that need for infrastructure to every individual's homes, right? So this is going to be really useful in third world countries and things of that nature. As you can see, Helium already has a huge presence around the whole globe. We have a ton of Helium networks. Now, how does that fit in with Livepeer? Going back to that stack, the Web3 Stack, this is Multicoin Capital's Web3 Stack. I've covered this before, but this to me is the key to the future of all things Web3 and Livepeer, okay? And so what you have here is you have end user management, and then you have Helium, which is right here, which is the decentralized last mile access. Okay. The decentralized last mile access is going to get pushed through up the Web3 layers, through your settlement layer, and then you're going to end up at this DApp area, right? Which is decentralized apps, which is going to be like the decentralized social media, the decentralized Twitter, decentralized Twitch, and Livepeer is right in this decentralized video transcoding area, right? So Helium is a part of the Web3 stack, along with Aweave and the Graph and all these other ones. And so what I'm really bullish on is anything Web3. And I mean truly Web3. I don't mean Theta, which is its own blockchain and doesn't really fit into the Web3 ecosystem, that has patents, right? If you have patents, I don't agree. Hence why you don't see Theta in this list of the Web3 decentralized protocol, right? But what you have is Livepeer mixed in with something like Helium, all stacked up, okay? Why is this important? Why is Web3 important? And I'm going to give you an idea of why I think you should invest and really, really pay attention to Web3. Because Web3, I think, is going to be the next NFT market. It's going to be the next NFT boom, okay? Let's go over to Google Trends real quick. If we look at Google Trends, you can see that we have, I'm just going to close this real quick. We have Web3 as a search term, and you can see interest over time. So for over the last 12 months, you can see there's been some interest. It's kind of steady. The Web3 ecosystem was originally coined by Gavin Wood, who created Polkadot and who was a co-founder of Ethereum. He actually is the one that coded the Ethereum smart contract language, Solidity. So kind of a big deal. He knows what he's talking about. But he coined this idea of Web3. And what you can see now is actually just in the last 2 months, basically October, November, you have this increasing trend of Web3 searches, right? And you can see that right now we're at about 70 on this scale of Google amount of searches. And then it's projected to peak into December, okay? So what you have here is a giant wick or a giant rise up in Web3 interest or dominance or searches, right? And that's what Livepeer is. It's a part of the Web3 stack, right? And guess where all the searches are coming from? Lo and behold, China, Mongolia, Estonia, Hong Kong. What do these things have in common? These are, maybe not Estonia, but definitely China, Hong Kong, Mongolia. These are dictatorship style governments, and these people want a decentralized web. They want access to all the things that are available in a decentralized, censor-free, fair world, right? So, I mean, in the West, we don't have this problem of censorship as much. We definitely have censorship, but in these other countries where it's top down, they're the ones looking at Web3 infrastructure, right? It's the East. A lot of the Eastern countries are really, really interested in Web3. And when you get those type of countries and those type of people looking at things like Livepeer, Helium, Aweave, Filecoin, any of these types of protocols, I can list off more. The Graph, I'll just throw that one in there because it's important. You can see that there is going to be an explosion over time. And now there might be a short-term bubble, but I do believe that Web3 is going to be the real place you want to be, other than Bitcoin as hard money, right? You got Bitcoin hard money, you got Ethereum as like the place where all the Web3 ecosystem is on top of, right? But then if you're going to look one layer deeper, you're going to have Web3 as services and utility, and Livepeer is a part of that, and it's growing, right? And so to jump into this, so I do believe Web3 is the place to be. Okay, so that's number one, right? Price, things are going in the right direction. People are not unbonding, and the price is good right now, especially if we're looking at $300 Livepeer. That's almost 10x from where we are now. Okay. Now, I can get into the market cap. I covered that in last video, but I want to cover a couple more things. I want to talk about how Livepeer is fair and the current upgrades is going through, which is going to set itself up for even further adoption. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is pre-mining, or this idea of a Merkle mine. When a lot of projects come onto the market, they are pre-mined. A foundation gets a bunch of tokens that get to sell them onto the market. They sell them for fiat cash. They hire developers, and you're stuck with a large bank of tokens being owned by a small group of people, and they get all the benefit of the rise in price. A lot of the benefit, I should say. And so finding projects that are fair from the beginning are really, really important. Arguably the fairest mine, or the fairest launch of a coin, was Bitcoin, right? There was no pre-mine. It was developed and organically grown to where it is today, right? If you were early, you get rewarded for it. It's as simple as that. It's grassroots. Even Ethereum had a pre-mine, right? So, and Solana had a really big pre-mine. So what you have to realize is pre-mines can really affect things and keeps interests into people and things that you might not like. Well, Livepeer didn't do a pre-mine. They did what's called a Merkle Mine, okay? So Doug, who is the founder of Livepeer, describes it into the introduction of Merkle Mine. This is on the Livepeer forum. But basically what it is instead of pre-mining and handing out tokens to whoever wants to buy into an ICO, what you do is anyone who had, I believe in Livepeer's case, anyone who has 1 Ethereum in their wallet gets airdropped a Livepeer, okay? So they get airdropped, I think it was like 2 Livepeer tokens, and it goes out to everyone who is in the Ethereum network. Now, that's an airdrop. Merkle Mine is basically the same thing, except instead of just randomly getting the coins received to you and then they end up just disappearing and not being in the ecosystem, what they do is they whitelist those list of addresses, and then you can go and interact with the smart contract and redeem your Livepeer tokens. So if in 2000, I believe it was 2017 or 18, if you had more than 1 Ethereum in your wallet, you could go claim your Livepeer tokens. Now, as time progresses on, there's this period of people allowing to, like let's say that somebody has a wallet, they don't have access to it anymore, and apparently they get 2 Livepeer. Well, as time goes on, other people can come and claim your Livepeer tokens, and more of it as time progresses. So it allows the Livepeer tokens to continue to be released into circulation from addresses that are lost, right? So it's the fairest way to distribute the tokens in the first place, but then it's also protecting the tokens from being lost in circulation. And so and because of that, you don't have a foundation that just has all the tokens to begin with, right? So they did a Merkle Mine. There's some interesting facts on it, but Merkle Mine is arguably the fairest way to do a token launch into the future, and that's what Livepeer did, which outpaces and kind of strategy, if you will, all the other tokens out there that just have a pre-mine. A lot of capital comes in, and then they can dump it onto the market, or they misuse of funds, or because now the founders have so much money. I mean, are they really that interested in building out a good product? Are they motivated? They have millions of dollars access to them, right? So I like the way that Livepeer is fair. It's fair to begin with. I really, really like that. It's really important, especially for Web3 context. So Livepeer is fair, and it's part of the Web3. Let's go into the next one. Livepeer is getting an upgrade, right? So we are getting LIP 73, which is the migration to layer 2 on Ethereum. This is really important. This just helps scale up the protocol as well as the Ethereum ecosystem. People argue all the time, and I get this, like, why isn't Livepeer on Solana or on Polkadot or Cardano or Avalanche or any of these protocols. And the problem with that is like, and I think the biggest one is Solana. Everyone wants it to be on Solana. Ethereum is definitely the most secure, Turing complete, general purpose blockchain out there. Okay, Solana went down for 17 hours, right? So whether you like Solana or you don't, it has high throughput. Ethereum has the ability to be the most secure, and it currently is. And security is everything when it comes to a blockchain. I really do believe that blockchains are pretty useless unless they are secure, right? And security is the only thing a blockchain produces, because without it, you could just have a centralized server with unlimited throughput. You don't need any throttles, right? So there's trade-offs on everything, but I think the Livepeer community really focuses on security, and that is security of your tokens, security of the network, which they see as above all most important. So they're sticking with Ethereum, they're going to a layer 2 option, and I think that's the right choice for what we need to do, especially within the Web3 ecosystem, right? So Web3 is the future. We got It's Fair. We got the upgrades that are coming down the line. The next I want to talk is the Lindsay Effect. Now, Livepeer has been around for a couple years. Unlike new protocols that are launching in the last couple months that have huge, high rates of failure. They usually launch a token, it goes up in price, comes down in price, and then the project fails, right? The Lindsay Effect says that the longer something has been around, the greater the chance of it sticking around, right? And so I like the idea of the Livepeer being, the token was released here in 2018, so it's been around for 3 to 4 years, the token itself, and the project was launched in 2017. I believe it was, it says here 2017 it was launched, but I think it was the early years of 2017, mid 2017. So the project has been around a long time. It has development, it has a use case, it has customers. It's been around through 1 or 2 bull runs, or I guess this would be like a second bull run. And the Lindsay Effect says that the longer something's been around, the greater the chance of it sticking around. And that's what we want when we are looking at investing in utility tokens or really anything in general. When you start investing in speculative things that are coming out days and weeks apart during a massive bull run, these projects have a high degree of failure. And just to give you a little context around a lot of these projects, I have here, this is under CoinMarketCap. If you go to categories, you'll see that right now, the number 1 top categories for top gainers, okay, are Doggone Dog Daryl. I don't even know how to say that, right? So some other dog coin crap, meme coins, and BCS ecosystem, right? Which is the Binance chain, which is a centralized chain anyway, right? So the top 3 top gainers right now, which will also be at one point the top losers, are just these meme coins, dog coins, things that don't make any sense. And that's fine, but the only goal of these things is to sell it to someone else at a higher rate. At some point, the floor is going to come out from underneath them because there's no real value, right? Now, arguably, some NFTs have some real value, but if you look any further down, you can see that the next list of 50 to 100 tokens, these all have some degree, most of them, I should say, have some degree of DeFi or Web3 ecosystem in them, right? And that's where I think the real opportunity is. The real opportunity is to get into these things that are fair, been around, have some Lindsay Effect, are progressing, growing, have all the right metrics, and are still relatively cheap. If we look at Livepeer, I mean, the market cap, we're sitting at 844 million. So we're less than $1 billion in market cap. And we just saw it come down from $100. So this would be a dip. And I would recommend people to buy the dip in this case, because I seriously think that 300 is is a definite possibility when it comes to Livepeer in general. So those are a lot of the reasons I think that Livepeer is a good option for going. We've got trends on our side. We've got everything you might need. The last thing I want to quickly cover is the Livepeer Academy. Now, this is something that I've been working on, and we have this page. So if you go to livepeer.academy, you can check out the FAQ page. If you are watching this or are interested in contributing or asking questions, obviously you can hop into Discord. But these are some FAQs where you can just ask a question and somebody in the community will answer it, and it goes into a database of collected questions that might be useful for the community. It's SEO friendly, and the answers are going to be quite in-depth and helpful. So if you are watching this and want to help out with the ecosystem, hop onto Livepeer Academy, livepeer.academy/FAQ, and ask a question. And if you ask questions there, I will be able to answer them as well on these live streams. So yeah, that's about it. Let me just check the comment section, see if I have any questions before we sign off. I do appreciate there is a lot of people that get value out of some of the videos I do, and so I appreciate everyone that is watching. If you do like this content, please leave it a like, subscribe, and as always, the best thing you can do to support Titan Node is head to the Titan Node Orchestrator and delegate your Titan Node or your Livepeer tokens to the Titan Node Orchestrator. You earn LPT and Ethereum for doing that, and we have reasonable fees. The fees have gone up a little bit in the past. Reason being is gas fees have come up so much, and we want to make sure that the pool and the node can stay afloat and earn everyone money without having to be a huge sacrifice. So we have some good fees. And we do lots of transcoding. If you're interested in joining the transcoding pool, you can check out titan-node.com. If you have a transcoder in any area in the world with fiber internet, you can definitely join the Titan Node pool. So that might be interesting. You might be interested in doing that. So that is my rant. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.